I think I agree with you there. You hit it on the nail. It's apologizing is the worst thing because then you're admitting that you did something wrong,
Right,
which
right. And
of
a
course
week later,
conservatives
the
never
media
do.
was all in a thrall because they determined that macaca, which was just, a made-up funny word, means monkey. And apparently, man, the words we are losing. We lost retarded last week, but we got Negro back. I don't know if you've been
Yeah,
following
definitely.
American politics.
Well, oh, geez, yeah, Negro
Democrat
retard.
Harry Reid called
Yeah.
praised Obama as a light-skinned Negro. But meanwhile, Rahm Emanuel or Sarah Palin got upset with Rahm Emanuel calling the Democratic base effing retards. So, it's sad to see retard go, but at least we have Negro.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's talk about Sarah Palin a little bit. One of your favorite columns that I've ever read was Sarah Palin, Conservative of the Year.
Yes, in Human Events. Thank you.
Yeah, and now we're obviously about a little over a year after that. Does she still fit the bill, do you think?
I don't know that I'd support her for president, but I do still adore her for the enemies she makes. Nobody does it better. In fact, frankly, I'm a little jealous. But I don't know. We have an awful lot of great candidates out there. I think the way Sarah Palin can do the most good, and a lot of good for the Republican Party, by the way, is by speaking at a lot of these town halls and ginning up the base. She gives an amazing speech and rallies the troops. During the campaign, she would come to venues where Barack Obama had been, and she'd get twice the crowd he had. So she speaks from the heart, and I think is beloved by a lot of the Tea Party town hall crowd. Now, obviously, some places she won't be that popular. There are probably some districts or states where it might hurt the Republican if she campaigned for them. So but not that many. But go where you help, and don't go where you won't help. But yeah, I think she'll have a big voice in American politics. I'm not sure. I don't know who I'm going to support for president. I don't know who's running.
Well, well, when we're on the topic of candidates there, what do you think of Mitt Romney coming out and supporting John McCain in the Arizona primary after, I don't know if you saw yesterday when Rush came out swinging against them, saying that, he's weeding himself out by doing something like this and committing political suicide?
I wish he would just stay silent. Go up to the Olympics or something again. Get in a fight with an LA rapper. We liked you for that. But in his defense, elected Republicans are put in a very difficult position when a rhino runs. It is considered, they're like the NRA, the National Rifle Association. If you are an incumbent and you have voted properly on gun rights, the NRA supports you. Even though generally people who support gun rights are conservative on other issues, you could be bad on every other issue. I think Representative Dingell up in Michigan is an example of that. I could have that wrong. I know there's one very left-wing Democratic congressman, but the one thing he's absolutely fantastic on is gun rights. And it's the same way with Republican incumbents. If it's a Republican incumbent, generally the establishment of the party will go out and support you. And by the way, Romney is far from the only one. Sarah Palin is supporting John McCain. And I think it takes a lot more class for Romney to do it. He's almost in a worse position, or there's even more pressure on him, since he was Romney's opponent. Sarah Palin was his running mate. So I think Romney probably felt like, Bush has endorsed this guy, Palin's endorsed this guy. I've got to do the classy thing and endorse the incumbent, though I have no doubt that all three of them would prefer McCain's primary opponent, J.D. Hayworth, as do I.
And for anyone unsure of how Anne feels about John McCain, I'm going to read the title of her November 5th column from 2008. The reign of lame falls mainly on McCain.
That really says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does.
And it rhymes. Al Sharpton should hire me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I somewhat famously said during the campaign, I would have voted for Hillary Clinton over John McCain. I did not make the same promise for Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, well,
right.
And I don't blame you for that one.
Now, when we're talking about, say, the Tea Party movement, Glenn Beck gave the keynote address at CPAC this week, and he's really come under fire from it. This hurts me because I love Glenn Beck, and I also love Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin. So when Mark Levin comes out firing against Beck, it hurts, but he's worried that Glenn Beck's going to start a third party, was my understanding of it. What are your thoughts on that?
The Beckian party? I'm with you. I love them all. But I do disagree with Glenn Beck. I've done this many times on his show and to his face. I always feel like when I'm talking to him, and he makes a big point of saying, I'm not a liberal or conservative, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I always feel like I'm talking to a foreigner, and I have to explain to him, Glenn, someone who believes the things you believe is what's known as a conservative Republican here in America. Put all your positions together, and not about Glenn Beck in particular, but about people in general who make this argument. There's no difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. I think it's kind of a cowardly position to take. It's like calling yourself a libertarian. And by the way, in actual policy, I'm more libertarian than most people who call themselves libertarians. But people who call themselves libertarians, I think are often doing so because they don't want to fight with liberals. And if they say they're conservative, much less Christians, then, the roof will come off the house. But libertarians, it sounds kind of close to liberal, and everybody thinks all you care about is legalizing pot. I just think it's kind of a cowardly position to say there's no difference between the parties. Yes, there are a lot of bad Republicans, but there are no good Democrats. That's the rule of thumb. And voters better remember it. You cannot say about a party where 99% of the Democrats voted to socialize health care in America. We've now had 2 bills. 99% of them voted to socialize health care. 99% of Republicans, in fact, more than that. There was only one congressman in the House of Representatives, and it's an accident that he got a seat at all. It's a very liberal seat down in near New Orleans. He took William Jefferson's old seat when William Jefferson was caught with $90,000 in his freezer and was arrested by the FBI. So it's just a fluke that he's in this very Democratic district, and he said even he wouldn't have voted for it if there was any if his vote would have been the deciding vote. So when you have 99% against and 99% in favor, don't tell me there's not a difference between the parties. When you have more than 200 Democrats voting for this insane cap-and-trade bill, which would require a government bureaucrat certified by the EPA to come certify that your house is green before you can resell it, and taxes would go through the roof, electricity bills. When more than 200 Democrats vote for that and only 6 Republicans vote for the cap-and-trade bill, don't tell me there's not a difference between the parties. Get rid of those 6 Republicans.
Definitely. Now, I want to go a little wider here to the topic of Mr. B. Hussein Obama. Obviously, he's had failures left, right, and center since being coronated or inaugurated, whatever we want to call it. What do you think is his biggest failure right now, or what do you think is the biggest threat from his administration? I
would say the biggest failure. Well, there are 2 biggest failures. And other than that, I think he's doing okay. Foreign policy and domestic policy. But that's it. I'm not too harsh on the guy.
I think the other major failure of the Democrats is for John Edwards to wear a condom, but that's another issue, apparently.
I just don't know what these guys are going to do next. I think the election of Scott Brown, despite his defection on the jobs bill this week, I think it's really checkmated.